Give me 1 minute. Okay.
I'm live already. Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much, Dr. Dayolomo, and good to have you here today. And we'll be doing this together for the next few minutes. Thank you for your time. I believe that we'll be here for the next few minutes. So
Okay.
thank you so much, sir. And I'll give a short introduction of Dayolomo. I've known this Dr. Dayolomo for a while, and I believe that one of the things that I've learned from him, or so many things that I've learned from him, I have easy access to him. I have a direct contact to him, and I see that as a privilege. I would say thank you so much, sir, for giving me that privilege to be able to learn from you directly. I know it's a rare privilege, but I appreciate that. Okay, I would say that Dr. Dialomo is an affectionately known as DDO. That is what we call him, Dr. Dialomo. And he has about 2.5 decades of experience, of wealth of experience when it comes to impact, when it comes to um, foundation, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to HR, when it comes to keynote speaking. He's a global speaker that I believe that as being in different places and the several people are learning from his wealth of experience. Dialomo is extensively experienced and it encompasses roles such as chair of CIPD South London and founding president of Corridon Communicators Toastmasters, reflecting his commitment to communities and engagement and personal growth. Dialomo has experience in terms of business advisory, career advisory. He's a global speaker and he's also a Toastmaster. Dialomo has the foundation called DDO, where he impact and empower lives for betterment. And I will stop there because I don't want to read his full bio. Because from this conversation, we'll be learning one, two, three things that he has put to use and that is working for him currently where he lives. And I say that with confidence that one way or the other today, we'll be learning from Dialomo. Thank you so much, Sir Dialomo, for joining us today. It's a privilege. I can say this is one of the people that I can call my mentor that I have learned from directly, and I see that as a privilege. I will say that once again. Thank you. And my name is Ayola Iwayemi. Currently, we are live on LinkedIn and we are live on YouTube. And I will say that, sir, can you just give us a short introduction of yourself?
The
And
first thing I would say is that thank you very much for inviting me to this program. It's very, very important, and I'm so delighted I'm able to attend. Talking about Dailomo, I would say that I am an example of how anyone can overcome adversity and become an inspiration to others. I was born in East Clinton 60 years ago, and so I was 60 oh, 2 months ago.
2 months ago,
Uh,
yes.
yes, I was 60, June 25. I was born in East Clinton, South London. No, East Clinton, North London, when my parents came to study. And when I was 2 years old, my parents went back to Nigeria and relocated. But when I was 7 and a half, my father died and life became a struggle.
Hmm.
I celebrated my 10th birthday at a bus garage, selling ice water to support my mother, who sold virtually all her belongings to send me to college. When I was 15 years old, I discovered myself. They said the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you discover why you are born. I discovered I was born to go into the entertainment industry, and when I was 17, I get crash. Get crash means that being invited to an event, no, attending an event you are not invited to.
Invited to.
That's what it's called, get crash in those days. Into the album launch of Terracotta, Lamentation for Sodom. And
Hmm.
that's how I started my career in the entertainment industry. I met everybody, I got trained, and I created opportunity for myself. According to Bernard Shaw, he said, the people who move on in life look for the opportunity they want. If they can't find it, they create them.
Yes,
So
bro.
my opportunity, and that's what I did in UK. And I did so many roles in Nigeria: promoter, artist management. I became the youngest promotions manager in Nigeria when I was 26 years old, and I became an artist manager, music promoter. At 30, I was celebrated as one of the most successful youths in the Nigerian music industry. They called me Showbiz Whiskey then. But because of the challenges I experienced when I was growing up, I relocated to England, thinking that being a
Mm.
British citizen, life would be a roller coaster for me. But I discovered that a crook has stolen my identity and he has used it to open a bank account and even got married and I wasn't invited to the wedding. And
Wow.
life became very, 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 very challenging. I ended up in the post office as a postman, and but the story has changed because that little boy who celebrated his 10th birthday at a bus garage, whose identity was stolen, is now a successful social entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, HR leader, OD leader, best-selling authors. Have been celebrated as one of the most influential Nigerians in the diaspora. I've won over 180 awards. I've been special advisor to mayors. I've helped people. I've inspired. I've impacted, and I have influenced. But the story is that what I learned from all of that is that human beings are incredible people. That we can turn
Yes.
nothing into something, and we can turn penny into fortune, and we are endowed with the seeds of greatness.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that short story. I know that is a summary. And one thing that is very profound for me, while I was trying to pick a guest for this conversation, um, the topic is repositioning for a quantum leap in a new environment. And I know you said somebody has stolen your identity, so it means there is going to be a struggle in between that time for you to be able to get it back. So my question is, how would you personally define what we call quantum leap in a new environment?
I think repositioning for quantum leap involves transformation. I'll call it transformation shifts in perspective, in mindsets, in skill sets, and in strategy. And it is about moving from a place of comfort to one of growth. And it is about identifying and embracing higher purpose. Because to reposition yourself, it means that you've left your comfort zone. I was a successful artist manager in Nigeria, music promoter. I was doing very well. But I got to the peak of my career at a tender age. I got to the peak of my career at a tender age. Then I started suffering from executive emptiness. There was nothing for me to do again. And that's where I relocated. So in terms of that, it's about being pivots. Because when you say quantum leap, repositioning for quantum leap, it means that I want to achieve that. I want to be successful. I want to become an HR guru. I want to move from being a successful, being a successful
Artist
marketing
manager.
executive
Yeah.
to being a successful HR person. What does that mean? It means that I have to go back to school. I have to retrain. I have to reinvent. I have to start from the scratch. It is not easy, but it is possible. And that's just what I did. I had to start everything from the scratch. But the most important thing is having a vision of where you are going. Why am I living? What does it mean? When I achieve success, what does it look like? What does it feel like? So it involves transformation, trans, transformation in your mindset, in your skill sets to achieve your goal.
Thank, thank you, Dr. Dialon. And so the next thing I'm going to ask is that what were the big lessons or biggest lessons you learned during your professional setback and your repositioning?
I think the biggest lesson will be resilience because okay, let's start from the beginning. When I first came to United Kingdom, Because of my experience as a record company executive and music promoter, and over 10, 15 years in the entertainment industry, I apply for roles in record companies, thinking that at least I'll be able to get something. I remember that I wrote over 80 applications and not one was acknowledged, talk less of being invited for an interview. What does that say? It means that you feel that the road has blocked. And I would say that the current generation of Nigerians relocating to United Kingdom are the luckiest because they have their papers, they have roles. Only very few relocated without a job or knowing what they want to do. Because of the way Canada is structured, before you can relocate to Canada, you may likely be a professional. Unlike in those days that we started from the lowest of the lowest. So it is about resilience. And talking about that, I think in my own case, I went through what I can call about 3 to 5 Fs. I moved from being stuck to being stuck, being stressed without anything, then going back to study. It is from that study that I moved to stability before I can move to success. So I would say it was a long journey, but the most important thing is resilience. When you hit the wall, when you reject, when you receive a lot of rejection letters, what do you do? Do you raise the white flag of surrender or go back? Now, I'm not talking of the biggest challenge is, in fact, that one's even the second phase because the first core challenge is to arrive with a lot of aspiration and you discover that somebody is using your identity and can't work. How do you overcome that? So, in fact, let me just say that that one is the biggest challenge because it means that I can't work, I can't go to school, so I have to spend 2 years getting my identity. It is after getting it that I now started applying for roles and I got those rejections. So I would say that's identity theft and resilience.
Okay, I know you said something that I think was very profound for me, which is you said you wrote or applied for over 80 jobs and you didn't even get a response. I can say that that can be frustrating, yes, and that can be a major setback for some people. But I'm going to say this just to corroborate what you have said, that people need to understand that our journey are different. So when you find yourself in a new environment, especially when you relocate, understand that your journey are different. So some might apply for 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 10 jobs, and get a job and get a response. But for you, you said you applied for over 80, no response, and you never gave up. So that is what the key part or the principal thing that every individual needs to learn in a new environment is resilience. Ability for you to be able to do it again in spite of that setback. Because sometimes that setback is what makes you a better person to be able to get to where you are going without you giving up on the way because you have relocated. The best thing you can do is to make the new environment work for you. And you need a lot of resilience to be able to scale through. Thank you so much for sharing that video. And I'll say this, the next question that I need to ask is, how do you distinguish between incremental change and a true leap?
And a true leap. Uh,
Yes. So I don't know if you get my question. So
Incremental leap. How do you distinguish between incremental leap and the true leap? You see,
yes, please.
in true leap, I would define true leap as when you have gotten to your destination, when you have arrived at your destination. So I have just written a book, My 60 Life Lessons for Success and Significance. And it took me 3 years to write. Incremental leap is when you look at the journey, day one, and I was writing 100 words every day. When you are looking at your journey and you can see that you are progressing. So when I decided to go back to college, the small leap is I got my first degree in business information system. Then I now went to go and do masters in HR, and I become a charter member of CIPD. It was when I achieved that senior role and I became the chair of CIPD South London. I would say that is the huge leap. So it is having, where am I going? What do I need to get there? Let me just use another example. I have completed 3 marathons. But before I completed my first marathon, I did the 10 kilometers. So that's the first stage. You can call that incrementally. Then I did half marathon before I completed the marathon. So it is the ability to be able to break it down. Where am I going? What do I need to get there? Where am I now to review it? That's the best way you will know that I am on that journey, because they said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, but it has to be the step in the right direction. If you decide to walk from Lagos to Ibadan, when you get to Shagamu, you know that at least you've covered 10. When you get to Ibadan, you know that you've achieved it. So, and that's the way I measure life. It is easier when we measure it like that, because anything that we can't measure is difficult. So, but the most important thing is knowing that you are on your way to getting there. But if you are not doing anything or you're on the wrong lane, it means that you're not going to get to your destination. It is when you get to your destination that you will know that you've achieved quantum leap. So at 60, I feel, and I'm thankful that I have achieved quantum leap, but it has taken time. I remember one song, one musician sang a song, many rivers to cross. You will cross many rivers. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Didio. So, because of the story you share, and I think it's very profound for us to be able to have an overview on this. And this question is specifically for you to be able to respond to. So, what are the first steps to understanding and navigating a new environment based on your story that you share when you first got to London?
I think before you even get to London, before you even talk about the first step, I would say that it is better you first of all check where you are going. Unlike in those days, there is no internet. It is based on what people say. Before you go to your first environment, you have to check. So now, before I relocated, the first thing I did was that, what am I going to UK to do? It's very, very important. Then, to study, to change my career, to reinvent myself. So the first thing I did is to study the environment. And you have to first of all study the environment, the culture, the way they do things. So studying the environment will make you to know how you can navigate. You have to have a better understanding of your environment, how you are going to navigate it. So I know that I am coming to study, but I wasn't too sure because I thought I would study law, but I ended up studying IT. So the first thing is to have a clear understanding of your environment. When I say clear understanding, how do I navigate? How do I build relationship? What support system do I have in place? How do I make money? How can I get a job? Do I have my papers? How do I face reality? If I can't get my dream job, what do I need to do? It is about understanding the culture. I think one um, Peter Drucker wrote something and he said something. Culture is strategy for breakfast. If you don't, if you have your strategy in place and you don't understand the culture, so you have to first of all understand the culture, prepare very well, look at what do I need to do to survive, how will I do it, and then start. Because if you do it like that, it will be easier for you to navigate. So it's about studying the environment first, understanding the environment and how to navigate the environment.
Thank you, Didio. And this is going to take me to what I call assessing the new environment. So, what role does situational awareness play in successful repositioning?
What can you ask that question
What
again?
what role does situational awareness, like your new environment awareness, play in successful repositioning?
I think that's very, very simple. If you have a very good understanding, it will make your journey to be easier. Because if the question you asked me earlier on, if you do your extensive research to understand the culture, the social, the professional dynamics of the new environment, then engaging with local communities, like I said, support system, it will make life easier. But if you don't understand those things, where are you going to start from? In fact, let's imagine, let's just, and I've seen some people, they're in a very bad place at the moment, especially in UK. They did not do, we call it due diligence. They did not do their due diligence very well, and they are now in hot water. Okay, let's imagine somebody, you are trying to relocate your family to anywhere, maybe let's say UK or America, and you pay an agent to give you what's it called, certificate of sponsorship, and you discover that you are giving a fake certificate of sponsorship. How are you going to do it? You are in hot water and you are already in UK. Or somebody that's supposed to house you, you go to the airport, they switch off their phone. You are in hot water with your family. We've seen so many instances. They promise you that a job is waiting and you spend so much money. Okay, let me just give you another instance that I've seen. Some people relocated with the promise that a job is waiting for them. They relocated with their family. A job of 35 hours is waiting for them. When they got to UK, they discovered that they can only do 17 and a half hours and they're with their family. So the risk of coming unprepared, it is just too huge. I don't want my enemy to be in that, in that environment, in that space. Because Ayola, that long and short, that person will be in a mess. That person will be messed up. And it will be very, very, very bad. So you can't, it is that. And we are talking of, when I look at the new generation of people who are coming to the Western world, Canada, America, some of them sold all their personal belongings to relocate. Now imagine after relocation, their expectations are not met. I'm not talking of those who are here that because they didn't understand the culture, they are running to domestic violence and all of that. Let's even park those ones aside. We can talk about those ones later. But I'm talking of the risk of coming unprepared. In fact, it's not something we should be talking about. It's that person will be in hot water. They will be messed up.
Okay, thank you so much, Didio. So I'm going to shift gear now, and I will be touching on a subtopic called personal branding and influence.
Okay.
So my first question is, How important is personal branding during repositioning phase?
Okay. When we say personal branding, we have to look at it from different angle. And what is personal branding? How you are perceived, how you are known, and you now want to reposition yourself. So let's use my story as a case study. I am I was known as a music promoter and artist manager. I relocated and I want to rebrand myself. The first thing I need to do is doing it gradually. So you have to reposition yourself gradually and you have to own your narrative. You have to be able to tell your story because personal brand it is different from I want to brand myself as a professional. This is what I do. We are talking of somebody who wants to reposition themselves. You can write a book, you can join professional association, but you have to own your narrative because it's like change of name, Ayola. Let's be honest with ourselves. I was formerly this, and now want to be known as this. After you've achieved that, so okay, let's say because it's easier when I use myself as a case study. I now want to be known as an HR leader. Do I have the qualification? Am I good at what I say I do? Am I sure? Because branding is easy. You can go on social media tomorrow and say HR guru, PR guru, OD guru, business leader. Fine. UK's leading business manager. Fine. But are you really that person? Because they will find you out. And when people find you out, it's going to be bad. I have seen somebody who claimed to be a coach, and I asked them about Grow Model, and they've not heard of it. And I said,
That's very strange.
you said it. You said that is very strange. There are so many things happening in our community. I have seen emotional intelligence experts who have not heard of Daniel Coleman.
I'm not sure that's possible.
But I'm telling you, true life. I've seen people that they claim to be XYZ. So when we talk about repositioning for quantum leap and rebranding, it's different because personal branding is different from rebranding. Rebranding is you now want to be known as this because of so I think we have to first of all go back a little bit. What do you know? What do you want to be known as? And why? Are you ready for it? So, HR, for example, if I use US or Canada, you must have HR qualification in Canada and America. Then you must also have professional qualification. I mean, join a professional body. That is when you can say you are into HR because they just need to ask you which professional association do you belong to. Then you also need experience under your belt. That is when you can now say that I am HR leader. So you can reposition yourself as a brand without doing all of those things. So let's agree that you've done all of that. Then it is now easy. You either get a brand expert or you seek help or you do it yourself. And it is so simple. You can go on LinkedIn and reintroduce yourself. I used to be this. I am now this. Guy, I don't, you will have seen it on LinkedIn, people saying, oh, I have just completed a course in mental health. I have just finished XYZ. So I am no longer this, I am transiting into this. That's their new brand. And they now begin to build things around it, post articles on it, speak at conferences. Then that's when you now solidify your brand. But you can't just wake up and say, oh, I am repositioning for Quantum Leap. I am rebranding. Rebranding from what to what? So you have to be clear. Clarity is very, very important. And you also need to own your narrative.
Thank you so much. What I hear you say is that you have to own your narrative as an individual, which I think is the most important thing. And I'm going to ask this. How can someone reinvent themselves without seemingly looking inconsistent or sounding inconsistent? How do people reinvent themselves?
Okay. We talk about reinventing. You reinvent yourself because you are basically saying, I am no longer this. I am now this. You may do it in such a way that you reinvent yourself to complement. So, I used to be a motivational speaker. A lot of people know me as a motivational speaker. And I wrote a book on goal setting and things like that. But when I was moved into leadership development, I wrote a book. I wrote a book on it. So reinvention should build on your existing strengths and experiences, showcasing growth while remaining authentic. Are you with me? Hello, Ayola. You have to build your reinvention.
I'm with you.
On your existing. It is easier like that. Okay, let's say that you want to reinvent yourself. You are formerly a lawyer, you are now a doctor. It's difficult. You will tell a long story. But let's say that you are formerly a general practitioner. You are now a surgeon, or you are now an eye specialist. It is easier. So you build on your existing strengths and competency. I think that is the best way. And you have to be able to articulate your journey so that others can understand your evolution. Those who are very close to me understand my growth. They can see the growth. I make sure what underpins my reinvention is public speaking, organizational skill, and project management. When I say project management, organizational skill, and public speaking. So you'll see things around communication. If somebody moves from motivational speaking to leadership development, you know that it is very, very close, because it means that you move from maybe motivational speaking to delivering training on leadership by writing a book. So to be able to reinvent without coming across as somebody who is very inconsistent is to build on your existing strengths and experiences. That's just the key. But sometimes you may want to do it completely. Then it means that it has to be one. So you have to quickly move, because you can't say, I am a lawyer today, say I'm a doctor tomorrow, say I'm an engineer next month.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. So let's use HR, for example. Because now you can have HR qualification and become a life coach. You can move to career coach. You can move to positive psychology coach. You can move to mindfulness. You can become HR business partner. You can move from employee relations to learning and development. You can move from learning and development to organization development. You can move to reward. You can move to being a generalist to becoming a specialist. But you can see that you are still using the same skill. So it is easier. What underpins your practice is that your HR background. But you are using it to move around. You can even say you are now an executive coach. When you become a certain, when you see HR directors retire, they become HR consultants. They become OD consultants. In fact, you can see HR director resign from an organization as HR director. They can go to another bigger organization like Microsoft and become HR business partner. So it is still the same thing. So when you say reinvention in that space, they are using their existing strengths and their experience and their transferable skill. So it will still be consistent. But when you are moving, I don't know whether you've seen some people, you can meet them today, especially people who run business. Oh, what do you do now? I am into A. Next week, they say, I sell cars. And 3 months after, oh, I sell water. And next month, they say, oh, I now import cars. So when next you see them, you now say, I know you are jack of all trade, master of none. So what do you do now? So we have to be very, very careful, especially when you are branding yourself in a particular way. So, okay, it depends on the way you want to introduce me. You said, okay, look at the way you introduce me. Global speaker, HR leader, OD leader, best-selling author, leadership development coach, executive coach. Like you can see that all of them are still what underpin everything. My education underpins everything. It's
Background.
personal
Yes,
development.
please.
Hello?
Yes, please. Yes, yeah. I said what underpin everything is the fact that you have experience and education and professional space in human resources, which covers and can move in between. Thank you so much for that,
Yes.
DDO. And now the last question around personal branding and influence is what tools or platform have helped you amplify your repositioning?
Easy. One thing, LinkedIn. That's just it. I don't need to lie. Because when you finish the story, how do you own the narrative? You are repositioning your for quantum leap. It is not a Facebook matter. It is not an Instagram matter. But this is the but. Oh, I think I need to correct myself. Who are your target audience? Sorry, I think I need to correct myself. Because if, for example, you are an HR person and you want to reposition yourself as a fashion designer because you love fashion or you like photography, LinkedIn may not be the right platform. So I think the most important thing is that when you are looking at reinvention and rebranding and repositioning, you have to look at your target audience, the people you are targeting, and where will you reach them. So I do a lot of leadership stuff. The audience are on LinkedIn. Who are the people that will commission somebody for leadership? Who are the people that will commission speakers for HR or OD or L&D conference?
They are on
Where
LinkedIn.
do they have expertise?
They are on LinkedIn.
Where are they? Where do they gather? So it's about looking at your target audience. Oh, I would love to explore America. I would like to explore Canada. I would like to explore Dubai. Who are my target audience? Okay. My target audience are XYZ. Who are the people that commission speakers for that target audience? Where do they gather? XYZ. Then that is the platform. So I would say generally, social media is the cheapest and the easiest. Because if you commission a PR company to help you to do your comms, your PR strategy, that would be a lot of money. But you can own your narrative by using social media platform with artificial intelligence now. When I was to unveil my book, I got somebody, they did some audio, video, and everything. When I was younger, you have to take it to an advert agency. You spend a lot of money. They will write scripts. They will be showing you. Oh, they will say for a 60-second advert, you can spend £100,000. But now, somebody can do it for £50 or $50. And after they finish doing it, a friend was saying, "Oh, this is artificial intelligence. That you can do this yourself." I said, "How? What?" So they were able to use artificial intelligence to help me to own the narrative. So you can. There are just so many things you can do for yourself. You feel how to do it, but if you don't know how to do it, you can commission it, and they are not that expensive. So I would say social media. That's the everything I've talked about. The answer, the tool, and the platform. The best one to amplify your positioning is social media platform. Then the other one that has really helped me is if you belong to a professional association, public speaking also help because I speak at so many HR conferences. That's where I met you in Lagos, in UK, and all those things help because you are in front of your colleagues. You are in front of other professional colleagues, and they can hear your view, your perspective, and that's very, very important for us coming from maybe Nigeria or Africa. Our perspective on things, because we have a different perspective. Why do you see it like that? What do you mean? So it's about owning your narrative and be grounded in your authenticity. It's important.
Okay, thank you, Didio. So we are rounding up in the next 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to be touching on skills, strategy, and execution, because strategy without execution is a waste of time and life. My question is, how do you know if you are taking the right leap or you are just leaping out of desperation?
How do you know whether
You are taking the right
you're
leap,
in the
or
right?
one is just leaping out of desperation.
Ayola, to be honest, you know, I think clarity of vision is very, very important. The challenge people face is that when they come to Western world, and when I say Western world, I will use Canada, America, and UK. They may have a vision of where they are going, but some people may tell them that, oh, this is where the money is, and they lose their vision. They go for the other routes, and they are not happy. So you know whether you are in the right lane, whether you are in the right, um, you are in that quantum leap when you are in the direction of your vision and your purpose and your mission. It's very simple. When you are not there, I'm not sure whether you are in the right lane, but you can say the end justify the means. There's nothing I can say about that. But when you are I was very, very clear on my direction and I pursue it. So when you are clear in your direction, you pursue it, you get to the promised land, you set goals, you put your deadline, you have your milestone, you know you're on the right track. But when you are not doing that, I'm not too sure whether you're on the right track. But in all of this, it's a personal choice. Because some people can come in and just say, oh, I've changed my mind. I don't want to do that again. It's not going to work. And they leave it. But what I always believe in is that at the end of our lives, we never regret at the things we fail at. We regret at the things we wish for, the things we have the time and opportunity to do and never attempted. And the worst case scenario is to do what they call follow follow. Because it's so easy to do follow follow. Oh, they are making money there. I remember so many years ago, people were saying they were making so much money in IT. And they're going to IT, they can't do it. Okay. I'll use another one. We have a lot of our brothers and sisters in UK who are into support work, care work. These people have not done it in Nigeria before. It is a challenging role because there's a lot of money and it's a very good route. People use that route. And some of them are running into trouble where they are looking after people. We are hearing that some of our brothers and sisters physically abuse people. Their family puts video in the house and they are catching them on video. So you know that because nursing, social work requires care, requires empathy. If you don't have empathy, you can't do those roles. So
Very true.
when you lack empathy and you think that's the best way to make money, you run into trouble. And the funniest thing, to make money, you need long hours. When you do long hours and you are sitting in a place looking after people who are very, very challenging, I'll use that word, and you know what I mean, with challenging behavior, and you lack empathy, and you snap, and you do what you're not supposed to do, and they capture you on camera. So those are some of the things. It's about vision. It is about knowing what you want to do and staying in your lane and your purpose.
Okay, and we're still on strategy, skills, and execution. The question I'm going to ask is, what key skills have helped you successfully reposition in the past?
Public speaking, non-negotiable.
Aside public speaking, what other skills?
Project management and organizational skill. Because I wanted to say leadership, but it's minor. But you didn't say education. You mentioned skill. And that's the reason why I didn't talk about education.
If I can add education to it, because when I say skills, you acquire skills either through professional study, either micro learning, either professional. So I would add education to it.
I would say my master's in, if you talk about skills, so because the journey started from when I joined Toastmasters. Toastmasters International is a club that I recommend. Toastmasters International help you to develop your public speaking and leadership skills. And it also helps you to develop organizational skill because you do events, you organize it. So when you leave Toastmaster, you have something. And there's a correlation between confidence building and public speaking. Then I think the one that is non-negotiable is to do your skills audits. Where I am going and what I wanted to do, what skills do they require? So when I started, I did my first degree in business information system, develop IT skills. Then I become an IT trainer. So you can see public speaking still helped me. But ultimately, I know that I wanted to go into leadership development and organization development and HR. So I now did a postgraduate certificate in further education. So my own route is different. And everybody must own their journey because Ayola, everything I do, I have qualification in it. So that because it helped my confidence. Then I also studied journalism. After that, I did PR. I did life coaching certification. I did executive coaching at Cambridge certification. Then I went to do my master's in HR. Then I became a member of CIPD and did my professional qualification and become a chartered member. So professional qualification is very, very important because any industry that you want to go into that requires professional qualification, if you don't have it, you're going to struggle. So we have to look at your vision, the industry that you want to go into. What do they require to succeed? Then experience is so very, very important. Another thing that a lot of our brothers and sisters don't pay a lot of attention to is volunteering. Volunteering also helped me. I don't know whether to call it a skill, but it's really helped because sometimes when you don't have experience, you may have education, and they may say you may have a master's in HR, you may have a PhD in HR, but organizations will look at your PhD, they say you don't have industry experience. So doing volunteering, becoming a member of my professional association also help. These are some of the things that help. Volunteering, becoming a member of your professional association, because it is about building your network. And that's the best way to build your network. I think you said we're going to talk about network later, so I can reserve that
Yes.
answer.
Yes. So I think I agree with you on that. So I believe that volunteering is a two-way street. So when you volunteer your time, you learn something from that organization and you become better. And what you have studied, you are putting into practice. So it's
Yes.
two ways. So it's not a waste of time. Even when we think that you are not being paid, that's why it's called volunteering, which I think um, people don't take use or take note of, and they don't use that aspect of learning and at the same time for them to be able to exhibit and express the career and the study they have done. And my question, I have about two questions to go. We're about
Okay.
5 minutes, 4 minutes away. And
Okay.
what would you say is when we talk about the strategy for networking? What do you have to say to that? When people are repositioning themselves in a new environment, what will you say about networking?
I think networking is very, very important. But you have to be a strategic networker. It's not just about networking. Because networking is the art of building, it's about relationship building. But where it works is ability to leverage that networking. So what kind of networking? You have to research the the events, research the people, meet people. And I think I use something that's called form. We struggle about how do I talk to people? How do I know what to say? And I have this thing I call form. You can just ask them FORM. Oh, hello, where are you from? Oh, everybody's from somewhere. Whatever they say, just take it.
That's a great way to start a conversation.
Exactly. Because they can, oh, do you mean where my parents are from or where I live? At least they have something to say. Easy. Occupation. Oh, what do you do if I may ask? Everybody will say something. I do XYZ. Then, oh, interesting. If you don't mind me asking, what do you do to relax? Because you seem to be a busy person. What do you do to relax? Oh, I sleep and oh, that's the, where do you get your motivation from? My dog, my family. You make it easy. But if you want to take it to the next level, if you research the audience, you don't need to meet 20, 30 people. If it's just three people that you can connect with, research them. Do they support a particular football club, like Arsenal, my club? I say, oh, I'm so sorry. How does it feel like to be supporting Arsenal for so many years and they struggle to win a cup? Then they start a conversation. Or you say, oh, congratulations, Crystal Palace. After 120 years, they were able to win a cup. There's something to say. Then when you now finish speaking, they will now ask you, so what about you? Hey, you now launch into your own story, into your own elevator pitch. But you've been able to build a relationship. When you finish, move on to the next person. You can ask for their details, or these days, people don't give their phone number. Oh, do you mind if I follow you on LinkedIn? They say, oh, fine. Then you send them a request. Oh, nice meeting you yesterday, and for the conversation. That's it, so that you can build a relationship with them. Ultimately, you can now leverage the relationship further down the line.
Please. My last question. Um, what final advice would you give to someone preparing to reposition for their next bold move?
Oh, I think it's very simple. Embrace your journey as an opportunity for growth. Stay authentic to your values. Invest in building connection and remain resilient. Remember, every setback is an opportunity for growth. When we are faced with challenges, we say, why me? But you must remember that success thrives on adversity. And most importantly, remember, you are a unique creature. You have a unique skill, you have a unique talent, you have a unique capability, you have a unique voice print, you have a unique DNA. And it is even said that your DNA carries with it the wisdom of previous generation. Above all, you are endowed with the seeds of greatness. You got the power.
Thank you so much, Didio. Thank you. It was a great time having you on this conversation. I'll say that I think I said from the beginning, people need to understand their journey, that our journey are different. And when we
Yeah,
fail, does not make us a failure. So I
yes.
think I had a conversation with one of my mentors in the time past that talks about the ABC of life, which is awareness, be aware, and believe, and courage. Because courage is doing that thing you know you have to do in spite of fear. And I would say
Hmm.
thank you so much, Didio. Thank you
Thank you.
everyone for listening, for depending on where you are listening um, um, to us today. Thank you and have a wonderful day and enjoy the
Bye.
rest of the day. Bye.
Take care. Bye.